Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny.
And it's TLT time, baby. Everything we've been trying to prepare for. They finally look like they bottom in rates after this FOMC meeting. We're going to talk about it, as well as what I'm going to do, as well as maybe getting a little risky. And the best way to do a TLT trade and maybe ZROZ too. Take advantage of bonds, y'all. Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. All right. So basically, highlights from the meeting on Wednesday. They are going to start cutting rates with at least 3 rate cuts in 2024. Meaning we have hit our peak top rate, and it is only going to get better from here. This is just prediction. I don't know. Something could happen. World War III, and then I don't know. Bad things happen. I don't know. But that is essentially the good news. Vinny's going to talk about what that means.
Yeah, let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit more. This right here is the CME watch tool for the Federal Reserve. This is showing you the probability of what the Fed funds rate should be based upon current options market betting. So if you track the blue boxes, that's where they anticipate it being at each meeting date, effectively. Okay. So right now, the CME group is calling for by next December to have the Fed funds rate down to 375 to 400. We're at 525, 550 now. So we're looking at about 1.5% cut is what they're anticipating over the next year.
And probably not a first cut. This is important for I'm going to show. Probably not a first cut until March. Most likely.
Yes, exactly. The March meeting is really where they're betting on the rates will start changing.
Perfecto. Very important for I'm going to show. So let me get back to this. So here's a plan, right? We've been doing videos on this for a year. I have a buttload of money on this. Well, I mean, a buttload to me. And it's starting to work out handsomely. So we're going to talk about it. But phase 1, market bottom and rates. We did multiple videos on when we thought this was going to show. I'm going to show you why those videos are dope because I have lines that were very accurate. Phase 2, covered calls and selling puts once a range is established. I have not sold a covered call yet, and I have been trying to for like 4 weeks. Because it keeps on breaking my rules. Thank God I have rules because I would have lost out on a lot of gains. But it just keeps on shooting up from a low of 82 to almost 100 now. So I'm waiting for a range to be established because we're going to be bouncing around quite a bit. And then phase 3, hold and collect that money as rates increase. This is probably another 2-year hold for me, just to be clear. So I just wanted to toot my horn just a little bit. People are saying these lines don't matter. I had drawn these before this whole thing happened. They matter. Here's a very, very close range. Look how close that was. It's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, I completely agree.
I bought a little bit here. I do this every friggin' trade, man. I got greedy. I had a limit buy at 80 to buy another 100 shares of TLT, and it didn't hit. Here's our history of rate hikes. It's going to make the next graph kind of make more sense. But as you can see, we were top heavy, right? We did bigger rate hikes in the beginning. The last one were all 0.25. So every yellow line is a rate hike. So you can see this was front loaded. We tanked while this was happening. But the last 4 or 5 here that were 0.25, you can see it didn't really move a lot, and it moved well after. So that kind of shows this isn't just interest rate. There's other factors. There's a bunch of other factors that go into this. Interest rate is a factor. That's what we're counting on. But credit rating, inflation, there's a bunch of other stuff. All right?
That's just optimism, pessimism is by far and away the largest mover of any market, I think, on Earth.
That's true. Here is the beginning of COVID. So you can see we were chilling at almost, for TLT, 180 up here, down to a low of almost 80. Quite the range. If you try to sell covered calls at 180, you get almost nothing, just to be clear.
That's what you should get. Nothing.
Now, here's where this gets interesting. So this is TLT from kind of the bottom. I don't think we will revisit this bottom, if I'm being completely honest with you, because now we have a most likely rate cut in March. We have much more optimism. Inflation is going down. It's very, very helpful. but we had a 20.54 increase from the bottom to the top here. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for something as like large and staunch as a 20-year treasury like ETF, like you would think it'd be a little bit slower moving than that. That's been a monster move.
Quick as hell. Yeah. Now, I did this video looking at, was TLT the best choice? Are there other better options for leveraging bonds and interest rates? And I looked at these five. I now, full disclosure, I came up with TLT is right for me. Other people would argue ZROZ or GovZ, which turns out almost the exact same thing. Okay, ZROZ is PIMCO, I believe, and GovZ is BlackRock, but they look at the same stuff. I might have had that backwards. TMF is a leveraged TLT 3X. Horrible idea. I'm just not going to touch it. Just a bad idea. And TLTW is now dead because if you look at their own description, it will literally say, in times of rate cuts, this will underperform. So it's kind of out. Now
that's the covered call version of it, is correct?
Covered call. Yeah, that's they issue covered calls. Their last covered call got obliterated. They missed all the gains of that upsweep because they sold at 86 on November 20th or whatever. Yeah, that's
perfect.
That underperforms quite a bit now.
That's a stupid guy level trade right there. I love it.
Yeah, not good. So here is ZROZ. Same thing. These yellow are the rate cuts. But the thing I wanted to show here is from the bottom to where we are now. So same timeline, it's TLT, 35.86% increase.
Wow.
Almost double.
Interesting.
Not quite, but almost double. Right? And we had multiple people that were saying, this is a better vehicle, which if you call the bottom, I completely agree with you. I'm very upset with myself because I called the bottom on TLT. I literally had it and I barely benefited from it. I only got like 80 shares at that price. But if you had called the bottom on this, you are killing it, right? You're up 35%. So my initial plan was options. I'll do 2 or 3 year options on ZROZ. A little bit of a problem with that. We're going to talk about. Here's what I do want to do. So I am waiting for TLT to have a little bit of a correction in the hysteria here, because 82 to almost 100 in that amount of time is gross.
Yeah, that was a monster move.
It's disgusting. I am very much hoping we see like 92, maybe 93. And then my plan is I'm going to buy calls, long-term calls for about 110, 115 range, buy a couple of them, maybe 3 or 4, and hold those for a long time. They have to be very long dated because the theta decay on this is going to be a problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I'm going to buy ZROZ shares. Shares, not options. For a reason.
Yeah.
This is the ZROZ options.
Yeah, exactly. The open, so that column says OI at the top. That's open interest. This is from Charles Schwab. I took the screenshot this morning for Dylan. When you're seeing most of them have like 11, 27, 13, 56 open contracts, that's way too thinly traded for most people because that's a highly illiquid market. You can get your face ripped off, not because of actually something with the underlying asset at that point, but just because the options are so illiquid.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the bid-ask spread on that 0.65 to 0.9. That's 50%. 0.6 to point. That's a lot. That's a gross percentage.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's no, don't touch. That's a flag.
Highly recommend no one do options on ZROZ. I was looking at 2025 and I'm like, why is there no options available? They only went to like mid 2024. This is a bad call. Don't do this. In my opinion, I don't want to advise you.
Yeah.
But
I think
better.
Most people will say that if you're getting less than 100 options contracts per day or 1,000 open interest contracts on that particular option, you shouldn't touch it. That's usually minimum liquidity for a lot of investors.
Yeah, and they're getting 0 on some of them.
Yeah.
So real good. Kind of a problem. This is just to show I'm not the YouTubers who just like tout shit for no reason. This is how much I'm holding. So my average price is 93.66. I got 44K in it. I plan to hold this for quite a bit. I really want a range to be established so I could do the second part of my plan here. But like I said, waiting for a range. Waiting for a correction on TLT and a correction to pick up ZROZ, but I will only do shares. I will in no way be touching options. It is super dangerous.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other point I would make too is you bought your TLT by selling cash secured puts in order to edge in that position. Does Robinhood adjust your cost basis for the premium you received on those
No.
cash secured puts? No.
It's
So your
just
cost
I just
basis
got
is
cash.
reality is a little bit lower than probably the stated there. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, it's not actually 93.66. What, I don't care. I just cash in the account. It's all the same stuff. Because I sold cash secured puts at like 88 for 100 shares and like 86. So it's not 93, but that's fine. I will say cash secured puts are also looking pretty sexy if you have the cash for TLT, because if it drops into the 90s, I'm not saying there's nothing that's a sure thing in this world, but we know there's going to be cuts. We know inflation's coming down. It's looking pretty likely that TLT can go back to the 120s, 130s in a couple of years. So it seems like a no-brainer to me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting trade. I mean, my trade on it was I bought a actual 1-year treasury bond directly instead of touching TLT or ZROZ. But yeah, that one's worked out well for me too. It's just a different way of playing the same idea concept.
I am very surprised Burry did not get in on this, or at least we don't know if he got in yet, because it's kind of a no-brainer. We did this trade because he shorted TLT and then I did it. He got out way too soon. He got out way early. I shorted all the way down to 100. But yeah, I just don't. There's not many no-brainer trades. I just think this is one of them, and I'm jinxing myself. I shouldn't say that. We should cut. We should cut before this. Let's cut before this. This is incredibly risky.
Yes, incredibly risky.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Catch you next one.